Hey Brandon, how you doing?
Hey Josh, I'm good.
Beautiful morning we're having here, wouldn't you say?
Very nice. Do you hear that?
What?
Hey, what's that?
Where?
Up in the sky.
Is that a bird?
Is it a plane?
It's... What is that?
The Escape Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Escape Podcast, your source for all good things in the universe of movies. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Josh. Join us as we explore the vast reaches of science fiction, fantasy, action-adventure, and beyond. How you doing, Brandon?
Peachy. How are you, Josh?
I'm doing well.
I'm actually tired because I woke up early to go see Logan.
Tell me about it. How was it?
Well, I just saw it. I haven't had a whole lot of time to process it yet, but it was good.
Yeah.
I'm sure when anybody goes to hear reviews or anything, they're going to hear comparisons to Clint Eastwood.
Okay.
As far as the way Hugh Jackman acts in this, and even kind of looks a little bit. So, if they ever wanted to remake any of Clint Eastwood's movies, I got an idea of who they could cast.
So you're saying he did good in
yes.
that?
Yes. Yep.
Even
All the acting was really good in this,
Yeah.
and he did a good job at portraying a worn-down old man.
Okay.
If it were up to me, I would delete all the X-Men movies except for the first two in this one.
Okay. Even
feel
First
like-
Class?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
you
think
did
so.
say you weren't really a big fan of that
Yeah,
one.
they're okay. But
Yeah.
I think if you really wanted to, you could just watch 1, 2, and then Logan, and it would make complete sense to you. You wouldn't really feel like you were missing anything, and I don't think you really would be missing too much.
What about the second solo Wolverine movie? You not like that one, I take it?
It's largely forgettable.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was probably better than the
It was
first
better than
one.
the first one.
Yeah.
But the opening scene, I think, of the first Wolverine movie where they show all the wars he had been through, I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that
Just
was
that part.
That was neat. It was almost reminiscent to the first X-Men movie when they show Magneto being dragged away from his
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
So that's kind of neat, but like they mess up so many characters and stuff. Like I didn't like either version of Sabretooth.
That's right, because he was in the first movie, and
Right.
then
And I didn't
he
like
was
the
totally
Blob in
different.
any of the movies either. I always thought they did a horrible job with the Blob.
What other movies was he in? I know he was in the first Wolverine solo movie.
He was in Yes.
That's the only one I know of.
Yeah, and he was in the boxing ring.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, he was in that one. Then he was also in the beginning of Apocalypse. You said you didn't see Apocalypse.
I didn't see that one. Do you have it?
I don't have it yet.
Oh, okay.
I'll get it sooner or later.
Okay. I'll get it from you sooner or later.
Yes. So yeah, he was in that too. It's not really a spoiler, but like when they introduced the Angel character, who later becomes Archangel, he's in a fighting rink, fighting ring, like Logan was in the first X-Men movie, kind of like a cage
With
fighter.
Nightcrawler. I did see that.
Right. Yeah. So they're forcing
trailer.
the mutants to fight each other in this little cage, and apparently Angel's like the top guy, and he's fighting the Blob, and you don't really even see the fight. You just see the Blob fall down with scratches all over him. And I know, like, maybe Fox just thinks the Blob is a joke because he's a big fat guy. But, according to the comics, I don't think Angel should be able to beat up Blob, at least not before he becomes Archangel. He's supposed to be kind of impervious to pain, and you can't move him if you don't want to. He's got super strength.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Logan was really good. They did a good job at watering it down and keeping it more simple. There weren't a whole ton of mutants in it to confuse you. The special effects were all really good. Like I recall in the first Wolverine movie, there was a scene where they showed his claws and they looked like cartoons. They were horrible.
Yeah.
So all the special effects in this one were really good. The story was pretty decent. All the acting was good by all the actors.
How does he get his claws back, technically, after the Silver Samurai cuts them off in that movie?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Because remember when they came back, they were bone again.
Yeah.
Which would make sense. But then come Days of Future Past, they were back.
I don't know.
Magneto
They don't do a
scrounged them up for
whole
him.
good job of explaining it. The continuity in these movies is
Yeah,
kind of...
they do seem to jump around with
Yeah.
like altered timelines and things, I guess.
The little girl surprised me. She was a pretty good actress.
Yeah.
And she had some decent action scenes.
Okay.
I'd never heard of her before. I looked her up on Wikipedia real quick before I came over, and I guess she's just part of some TV show. That and Wolverine are like the only two credits she has. So she's from Spain.
Okay.
But no, she did an excellent job. There was one thing in the movie that I thought was kind of stupid, and I'm guessing a lot of people are probably going to just gloss over it and not really put too much thought into it. But it was something that I noticed,
Okay.
and it kind of made me chuckle at how stupid it was. And then there was one thing that was a little bit disappointing. It was something that I wanted to see, and I expected to see, but ended up not showing up. And then probably later on down the line, we can do like more of a spoiler review.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to check it out eventually, but I don't know when that will be.
As far as my expectations goes, it exceeded them.
Did you see it with John, or?
I saw it with a buddy.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Unfortunately, John still has the bird flu.
Yeah, that's
Or
right.
I guess we could say the burb flu.
Yeah, so we did say we were going to do the Burbs, and things didn't work out. One guy couldn't make it. John got sick, so
It
didn't
was
work
going to
out.
be an extravaganza,
Yeah.
and there's only 2 of us left at the moment.
So, did you see the new King Kong trailer?
There was a King Kong trailer before Logan,
Okay.
and I saw that, and then I saw the I think the newest one today.
Yeah.
They just keep showing too much to me. I'm excited to see it. I actually heard a review on it. I listened to one review, and it didn't sound good.
Was it Chris Stuckman?
It was a
Yeah.
Stuckman review. He didn't seem to like it, but as much as I like him,
Yeah.
I disagree with him as much as I agree with him. So
Okay.
hopefully I enjoy the movie more than he did. We'll find out next week, I guess. But as far as the trailers go, like I don't even really want to watch trailers anymore because it just gives so much away. Like they show you basically if there's any creatures left for Kong to fight that I don't know about already, I'll be surprised.
I'm assuming this version, they're not going to be taking him off the island.
Probably not.
I'm getting the impression that the whole thing takes place on his island.
Yeah. Well, one thing I did get from the trailers that seems kind of neat is it has like a real 70s like war movie vibe.
Yeah, which is funny because when Peter Jackson did his remake, he decided to stay very true to the 33 original.
Mm-hmm.
And this one looks like it's maybe not totally following it, but more going in the line of the 76 version.
The other thing I heard about the movie that got me excited too was supposedly there's some credits.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in the credits they mention some of the monsters from the Godzilla franchise
Okay.
and that they belong to Toho. So that means they'll either be mentioned or referenced or shown somehow in the movie somewhere. So I'm going to have to keep my eyes open for that when I see it.
I'm a King Kong fan. So maybe this is kind of silly of me, but like I think it's kind of weird. There are no dinosaurs. They show the skull of a Triceratops, but from what I understand, there are no living dinosaurs you see. And I know you could make the argument that perhaps the skull crawlers are some kind of dinosaur.
Yeah, well, we don't know for sure yet. We'll find out.
But I just noticed something that I hadn't noticed before. If you watch the original King Kong, the 1933, there is this lizard creature that only has front arms, but his body it goes into almost like a snake, just sleeks out into a tail, no hind legs.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed the skull crawlers are those. They are bigger, more violent, faster versions of those. They
that's
have
interesting.
only front legs, and just it swoops out into a tail.
I'll have to look at that. You said that was the original King Kong they had
In
that?
the original King Kong, you can definitely see it, the scene where Jack is hiding in a little crevice of the cave and Kong's trying to reach down and get him, and there's a vine, and it's using its mouth to climb the vine along with its front arms, and Jack eventually cuts the vine and it falls. It is just some fictional thing they made up where it doesn't have hind legs.
Well, that's cool. I'll have to check that out.
And I just, the first time, noticed that these things don't have back legs.
There are a couple other trailers that came out.
Let's see, we got the Alien trailer.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I've been trying to avoid anything about that movie. Like, I like the Alien series.
Yeah.
I actually never saw the 4th one, though.
You're fine.
That's the way it looked. This one, I just watched the trailer. I'm really interested in Danny McBride. I'm a big fan of his.
Okay.
I can watch him play the same type of character, which he pretty much always does, all the time because I love that character. I don't know if you ever watched Eastbound and Down.
No.
Or Vice Principals.
No, I never even heard of that one.
Or Your Highness, or This Is the End.
I've heard of them, but I've not
He's
seen them.
basically the same character in all of those.
Okay.
And he cracks me up. I think he's hilarious. But I noticed in this trailer, it's more of a serious movie. sci-fi horror action movie, and I was wondering how he's going to fit in this movie. I expected him just to be, comic relief.
Yeah,
or
that's what I
real
took
goofy.
from it.
And he still could be, but he looks like he's kind of taking it serious. I know he's attached to the new Halloween movie that they're working on.
Oh, really?
And I'm wondering if maybe... I didn't know he was like a fan of horror.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes. As far as the rest of the movie goes, it's hard to tell because sometimes you can't tell a lot from trailers, and
Right.
I don't necessarily want to, but it
Was
looks
there
like it
another
has the feel of maybe the original too,
Yeah.
and that's a good thing. And then the aliens look CG, but they didn't look bad in the trailer, so that's okay.
There was another trailer for it, if you can call it that, but it was almost more like just a film clip. Did you see that one? Like an actual clip of the film.
Nope.
This is more an actual trailer. It just shows them talking about like their long trip and leaving Earth behind, starting a new colony. Nothing.
I did see
special.
there was the trailer before Logan, and it showed like they landed on a planet. It looked like they were looking for a new place to colonize.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that meant anything was happening with Earth, or if they were just that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
It looked to me like that was just what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And they were all couples that were on the ship, is what they said.
Mm-hmm.
And they landed, and there was like wheat and
Yes.
stuff on this planet. They're like, I wonder who did this. I wonder who planted this. I don't know why they said that. But, they're walking around. It looks like a nice place. But then they notice, there's no animals anywhere.
Right.
And you might expect there to be animals with all, like, the food around. But, they didn't hear anything. And, of course, it's probably because, the aliens are on there
Yeah.
eating everything.
I'm not a huge fan of the Alien movies. I liked the first two.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like the 3 and 4. It has been a while since I've seen them. It'd be something I probably have to rewatch, but I remember, especially like in the first one, it was definitely more of a like suspense thriller. I felt like,
Yeah.
a little more, time getting there. I feel like I've been saying that lately.
It really blurred the lines between horror and sci-fi.
Yeah,
It did a really good job. I'd say it's almost more of a horror movie than
Yeah.
sci-fi.
revved up the action a little bit more.
Yeah, they were both good. I remember liking both of them. Yeah, the first one's definitely on my list of favorite movies. It's been a while since I've seen it. I need to go back and watch it.
Yeah,
Speaking of the third Alien movie, we just lost one of those actors.
of course, that's right. Bill Paxton.
Yep, Bill Paxton just passed away. It's game over for Bill Paxton.
Yeah, he's the only guy who went up against a Terminator, a Predator, and an Alien.
Now, what Predator was he in?
Part 2. with
Okay,
Danny
I'm not
Glover.
as familiar with Part 2,
Yeah.
largely because I don't picture Donald Glover as an action hero.
No, I mean, I've heard that argument before. I think you got to remember though in
Or
that
is
movie,
it Danny Glover?
Danny Glover. Yes,
Okay.
it was. I thought you were being funny. It's more about the fact that the Predator was hunting the two rival gangs of the city.
Uh-huh.
There was the Colombians and the Jamaicans. I think they were, and
Okay,
basically,
Okay, man.
Yeah. So basically, Danny Glover was tracking it. So it wasn't so much that the Predator was hunting Danny Glover because he was the most, worthy opponent. It was the fact that he just kept following him.
It just seems like an odd
in the middle.
casting choice to me.
Yeah,
Maybe it was probably released around the time of like the second or third Lethal Weapon, and he was a little bit bigger name back then.
Maybe. I'm trying to think of what year that was. I think it was the early 90s, but I remember they actually set it further ahead than what it really was.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like
So
Terminator
they set
2.
it in the future?
Technically, a few years.
Oh, okay.
Like maybe 4 or 5 years. Kind of like Terminator 2. I think it came out in, was it 91, but it's set in like 94 or something.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a teaser trailer for Deadpool too. We just watched it. What
Yep.
did you think of that?
Now, I don't know much about Deadpool. I know he breaks the fourth wall and all that kind of stuff. I didn't see the first movie. It's a funny trailer.
Oh, you haven't seen the first
I
movie?
have not. No.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm not up on it.
So,
But it's just a teaser alone. It was a funny teaser, yeah.
yeah, it's a funny teaser. Like he's walking down and sees a guy in trouble, and he runs to a phone booth, which
Yeah.
coincidentally, our movie today is going to end up being Superman, and they start playing the Superman music while he's trying to
Which,
change
how
into
did they
his
get the rights to
costume.
that?
I do not know.
That blows my mind because that's a DC character, it's music, and a Marvel character.
And it's also Warner Brothers property versus a
Yeah.
Fox property.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's weird.
yeah.
But they start playing the Superman music, and he's trying to change. If anybody out there hasn't seen the Deadpool teaser yet, go check it out. If you like the first Deadpool movie, just like Deadpool, I wouldn't say take your kids to Deadpool. It's a rated R movie. Don't take your kids to Logan. It's a rated R movie.
They really take advantage of that.
Yeah, Yep. There's the violence is a little more extreme, which actually worked for the movie. Like, I thought it was going to be over the top. Like, just because it's rated R, let's go ahead and do all this stuff. It was there. It was very violent, but it worked for the movie. There's a lot of F-bombs dropped. Language. There's language. Fox has been trying to sneak that kind of stuff into even the PG-13 ones, though, lately anyway.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if you're sensitive to that stuff and don't want your kids to see it, don't take them.
Right. Well, main topic time?
Let's get to the main topic.
All right. So today is episode 15, and we are going to do Superman from 1978. Currently has a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it was directed by Richard Donner, who is best known for the Lethal Weapon series. He did The Goonies, Lady Hawk, and he was also executive produced X-Men and the first Wolverine movie.
Okay.
Stars Christopher Reeve. Obviously, most people just know him for Superman, but I was looking him up, and he has some other movies that did pretty well. Remains of the Day, Above Suspicion, Street Smart, Somewhere in Time. Also has Gene Hackman, who did very well for himself.
Never heard of him.
Runaway Jury, Crimson Tide, Unforgiven, No Way Out. And a little brief spot by Marlon Brando, The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, Guys and Dolls. So, some trivia here. David Prowse, the guy who played Darth Vader, who was a bodybuilder, helped Christopher Reeve get in shape for the movie.
Yeah, he was in pretty good shape in that movie. I was wondering if they added anything under there. It looked like it was really him.
Yeah.
It looked like he was probably pretty ripped.
Yeah. Robert Redford, Clint Eastwood, and James Caan were offered the role, and all three turned it down. They said Redford wanted too much money. Eastwood said he was too busy, and Caan said there's no way he's getting in that goofy-looking suit. Apparently, Marlon Brando refused to memorize his lines in advance. He felt it was better to roll cameras and not rehearse, just do it. And they even said that he had lines written on the baby's diaper. Steven Spielberg was offered the chance to direct, but didn't work out. And Marlon Brando received $14 million for about 10 minutes of screen time.
That's a good paycheck there.
Yeah. Clark Kent and Superman's hair part different sides, opposite sides of each other.
Well, that's why nobody can tell that they're the same person.
That and those glasses.
Yes.
Christopher Reeve was an unknown actor. Apparently his credits in the trailer are listed behind Gene Hackman and Marlon Brando, even though he's the star of the movie.
Okay.
He was listed in third place. Gene Hackman flatly refused to shave his head or wear a bald cap. To get around this issue, they styled his hair, his own hair, different from scene to scene. They put numerous hair pieces around to give the illusion that he was always changing out, and that since the hair was combed differently, like it was a different hair piece. It says he finally relented and wore a skull cap in one scene when he was taken to prison. Is when he, gets angry and pulls it off. That's the only time he would do it. The filmmakers made it a priority to shoot all Marlon Brando and Gene Hackman scenes first because they were tied to go to other things. Marlon Brando's salary made him the highest paid movie star in the world at that time. Yeah. The end credits were 7 minutes long, and that was a record for 1978.
The end credits were?
The end credits.
Okay.
Dustin Hoffman turned down the role for Lex Luthor. Originally, the helicopter scene was just going to have Lois falling, but the director decided to have the helicopter drop and modified it at the last minute so he could basically have two things to rescue. The film was planned in 3 years and took 2 years. Had over 1,000 full-time crew on 11 units, spread over 3 studios in 8 countries. And apparently it was 1 million feet of film. In the scenes where the burglar is scaling the office building, obviously he's really crawling because Christopher Reeves is standing. Right. But when they fall past that one guy's office, that set is actually inverted, and that guy's actually seatbelted into his chair to help sell the illusion. In its initial run, the film topped the box office charts for 13 consecutive weeks. George Kennedy, Jack Nicholson, and Gene Wilder were considered for the role of Lex Luthor. After Superman and Lois go flying, he brings her back. She says goodbye to him while he's standing on the balcony. When he flies away, it's one continuous shot where she goes back into the apartment and Clark's at the door. They did that one shot, no cut, so what they did is they actually filmed him saying goodbye to her, and they put a screen up, just like in Kong, and they rear projected it, I guess, or something like it, so that it looked like she basically acted in front of a screen in that scene, so that Christopher Reeve could really be standing at the door to answer it and do in one scene. Richard Donner asked Jerry Goldsmith to do the score, and he agreed. However, scheduling conflict came up, and he wasn't able to do it, and John Williams stepped in.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah. Gene Hackman was apparently reluctant to do Lex because he felt it would ruin his reputation as a serious actor. To obtain the glowing effect of the clothing of Krypton, the wardrobe department spent weeks sewing tiny balls of glass in each actor's apparel. And apparently they had to be really careful because if the oils from the fingers got on it, it would mess it up. Sylvester Stallone lobbied hard to play Clark Kent Superman. and he was ultimately turned down. Apparently, he was deemed too Italian.
Oh, I thought you were going to say too short.
No, and apparently Stallone found out that Marlon Brando had some casting approval power and turned him down for the role. And it caused a little bit of a beef with him because at that time, I guess, Sylvester Stallone was considered the next Brando.
Really?
And it caused a little bit of a animosity there. The movie's original ending had Superman saving California, reconstructing San Andreas Fault, and then throwing the second missile into space, where it cracked the Phantom Zone and released the 3 supervillains. Paul Newman was offered the choice to play Superman, Lex Luthor, or Jor-El, and he was not interested in any of them. The original Superman costume was going to be darker blue, but it became transparent with the blue screen effects. Numerous actors were considered for the part of Superman, including Muhammad Ali, Warren Beatty, Charles Bronson, James Caan, Sam Elliott, Dustin Hoffman, Burt Reynolds, Nick Nolte, Al Pacino, Robert Redford, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jeff Bridges, Christopher Walker, and Jon Voight, and there's a ton more.
Christopher Walken?
Yes, sir.
For who? For the part of Superman? Oh, those are some interesting choices.
Yeah. Carrie Fisher, right off the steps of Star Wars, was considered for Lois Lane. It was released the 40th birthday of Superman. Marlon Brando had his contract to complete all his scenes in 12 days. Christopher Reeve's wardrobe was handmade by Russian women staying at a local Holiday Inn while they awaited decision regarding Asylum. George Lucas turned down the chance to direct it in favor of Star Wars. Christopher Lee had to turn down the role of General Zod. So that's about it for trivia, so go ahead and take it away.
It's been a while since I saw this movie, so I had to rewatch it.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think I had ever actually seen the whole thing all the way through.
Yeah. Me too, I think. I might have seen it at Dave's. As I watched it, I realized some stuff was a little more familiar than I thought, because I was thinking the same thing. I'd never seen this all the way through.
I'm pretty sure I've only seen, as far as the first one goes, parts of it on TV. Not even the whole thing. So, yeah, it was cool. I was surprised that it started off with the Action Comics reference, the 1938.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
I actually had to double check to make sure I was watching the right thing.
Yeah, they did it in reverse. They said they did the fade of the real, or a live action Daily Planet logo, the top of the building, and did everything backwards. The kid turned the pages backwards and everything.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I was surprised. I thought it was going to end up being like a documentary. So that was cool seeing them do like the little reference to that.
Yeah.
So, like, this is where we started. And then it launches into the theme in the credits. The theme is pretty recognizable.
The theme is, I thought, great. I think that's a really good theme.
Yeah, like, you hear that and you know what it is. It's a John Williams score, so...
Have you ever seen Masters of the Universe? That music copied Superman's music pretty closely. Mm-hmm. And I want to say that was James Horner who did that, who also did The Wrath of Khan, but don't quote me on that.
What a rip-off artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, the theme is really good. It's really clean.
For sure.
It feels very suiting. To a Superman movie.
I saw this one thing on YouTube where someone basically took clips of the Man of Steel Superman, but they set it to the 78 Superman music, and they were saying just how much better it makes it look, and it really did.
Yeah, it probably adds a little bit of cheeriness to that movie.
Yeah.
So I was commenting on the credits earlier. You said the end credits were like 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at it when the movie started, including the beginning where it did the 1930s little reference. After the opening credits ended, it was like 5.5 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, it did take a while.
So I noticed it took a little bit to get in there. The movie it's a long movie.
What was it exactly? Was it?
It's over 2 hours. I think it's 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Which probably was pretty rare at that time, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Gone with the Wind back in the day was like 3 hours, wasn't it? I think.
I'm not sure about that one. 2 hours isn't super long for a movie, but I felt like this one could have probably benefited from a little bit of tighter editing.
Yeah. So, was it just me, or did Krypton kind of look like a glacier?
Yeah, it looked like they lived on the crystalline entity.
Okay, yeah. Was that supposed to be like ice and snow, or is that just how their buildings look?
I'm not sure. I think they weren't really sure how to make a different planet look.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny in a lot of old sci-fi stuff, like when they stick somebody on another planet and there's like no atmosphere.
Yeah. I thought it was funny that they go straight from a criminal trial, literally just get those guys out of there, and then it's right to this global problem that
I noticed that too. Up. Like, I wrote that down in my notes here. First I thought it was kind of funny when the guy was talking about Ursa, the woman that was with the three that were being banished. He said something about her hating all of mankind, and I started to wonder, like, would an alien race use the term mankind?
Yeah.
But I guess they wouldn't be speaking English either, so...
Right.
I noticed that the suits were really cool.
Yeah, I thought that was fine.
I thought that was cool how they glowed like that. I didn't know that they stuck glass in their suits. It sounds pretty dangerous. You wouldn't want to fall over in those.
Okay. how did they know that Earth's atmosphere would make him strong?
I don't know.
Like, I didn't get that.
Yeah, I wrote that down in my notes too. Like, yeah, that was the next thing I was gonna get to.
Like they knew that they looked like us, or we looked like them, or whatever.
There's a lot of that in this movie where like they just kind of explain something, but there was no way for the person explaining it to know.
Yeah. Here's another thing. Why did he promise the council that him and his wife would not try to leave? And why would they even care? Like, you think if he's kind of a nuisance that's always going against them on stuff, why wouldn't they just want him to, just leave them?
One of the things I was wondering is, like, they're supposed to be such an advanced race, and they have all this technology. He was the only one. There's only one person on that planet that realizes that they're going to explode.
Yeah, I had that written down. Why was he the only great mind that could figure that out?
And his warning was, it's like, within 30 days, which is already super quick. It's like, whoa, dude, our planet's going to blow up in 30 days. Like, all right, you're just finding this out now. You only have 30 days left. But it was more like 30 minutes because he went and he packed up the baby, shipped the baby off. And
it was impeccable timing. As they were getting that little ship to get going, everything starts shaking and falling apart. Like, I mean, he really got him out in
30
great
days,
timing.
but it took about 30 seconds.
Yeah. I know this is very nitpicky, but here we go. How did Superman survive the trip? And I'm talking like food, water, air. How did his ship feed him? What did it do about waste? He went this whole trip and they show him aging. So like, how is he getting nourishment during this trip? What if he was attacked by another? I mean, they talk about other the known cosmos, the known universes and whatever. What if some other hostile force happened to come upon it? Did that ship have something prepared to defend him, the last survivor of their people?
It was an interesting ship.
And how in the world did the recordings on the ship teach him anything? Because it seems like he didn't know anything until he got to the Fortress of Solitude. It's teaching him all this stuff, but it didn't seem to do anything.
I didn't even think about that part.
Okay. I thought it was kind of a nice callback, the whole train thing when he was racing the train. That was kind of cool. I had no idea that was supposed to be Lois Lane.
More powerful than a locomotive?
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of cool just to have some kind of train
reference. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. There was something I noticed when he was a kid, and this is just kind of a funny thing that I was like, oh, that's funny, because I don't know if they would do that nowadays. Like, when he stepped out of the ship, I don't know how old he was. Yeah. But he was naked.
Yeah.
And they just went ahead and showed everything. I mean, it's just a little boy, but
I felt that was unnecessary, and
it was
Brittany
an
was
odd
in there.
choice, and I don't think they would do that today.
No, I hope not. I really think that was not necessary, and Brittany was there, and she was like, I mean, that there was no point to it.
I mean, he was like less than a toddler or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't old. It just seemed very weird to, like, they could have had the camera angle in the way to cover up the bottom. Like, we would have understood.
Yeah, that was very strange to me.
Yeah.
That they decided to do that, and it just kind of felt a little uncomfortable to me.
Yeah, he looked like the Nirvana baby.
I felt like they didn't really do much with his dad, his Earth dad, Kent. Like, I felt like they showed him when they first found him. He has one little conversation when he's a teenager, and then that's it. Yeah. I just felt like they kind of
I got the sense that, like, he imparted a lot of his values on him.
Right, but...
And that he warned him, you better not show your powers off.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of time spent with... Do you know the dad's name?
The actor?
What was the character's name?
Something his dad?
Kent. Pa?
Paul Kent.
So, Paul Kent, telling him, you can't show off, it's dangerous, and then a lot of, like, good down-home values he instilled in him. But yeah, he died off pretty quick. Yeah. Which is funny because the pacing of the movie is so weird. There's not a lot of time spent with Dad. Dad's supposed to have a huge impact on his life, but he dies right away. But the movie is still kind of slow and dragging out a little bit.
They did seem to kind of change that for the Man of Steel version, where they show more interaction between him.
Yeah, they did do that.
And I don't know if it was just me. I asked Brittany, again, have you never seen Gone with the Wind?
No.
So the part where him and his mom are staying in the field, and he's like, I have to leave, I'm going north. And the way the camera, like, pulls out, and then it kind of rises up and, like, sweeps over them and out to it reminded me of some of the camera angles from Gone with the Wind.
Okay.
Not exactly, but it almost just felt like that style. The whole... I'll never go hungry again. I don't know if you ever saw that scene, like, just the big motions.
It's a classic movie, and it's something I have to get out of the way. I know it's a long one.
Yeah, that's like 3 hours.
Yeah, so that's going to take a lot of my attention time.
Well, it gives you an intermission. There's actually a while just as intermission.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'll probably need it.
Okay. What drew him north? How did he know to go north? Why did he just decide to throw the green stick? Like, he looked like, okay, I'm here now. I'm north. Oh, I'm fed up. I'm not finding what I want.
I kind of got the sense that he knew he had to do it, but he didn't understand why he knew. Because maybe that's part of what the ship was, like, getting him. Because,
like, I felt like almost like he didn't know that when he threw it, it was going to do that. and because he looked like surprised or like
I don't think he knew what he was doing. I think it was almost like an urge he couldn't resist. Like he knew he had to go do this. He didn't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. Just to me, it just looked like he was like as if I've been searching and searching. I can't, and I give up, and then like the Jack of the Beanstalk beans. So again, 12 years in the fortress. What do you eat? What do you drink? I know I keep bringing that up, but like, I mean, even Lois says, "Do you eat?" And he said, "Yeah, when I'm hungry." I just think it's funny. Did it supply him food?
Yeah, and something else too was like, it seemed like they aged slower, a lot slower than we do.
Okay.
Because didn't he say, like, by the time you get to Earth, it will have been 1,000 of our years or something like that?
Yeah, I didn't get that either. I noticed that he said that, but I'm not fully understanding that. Where did the suit come from? Like, all of a sudden he's grown up, he gets all his knowledge, and he just has the suit. He's like, all right.
Well, I remember that they packed the suit with him, actually, on the planet. They? Yeah. Oh. I don't know why they gave him a suit like that, but I remember seeing it because, like, it really stood out in those early scenes.
Oh,
because everything was either white or gray or glassy.
You're right. I do remember something blue and red.
Yep, and they had the gold, blue, and red that came with him.
So Superman ice cream. You a fan?
I think whenever the ice cream truck came around when I was a kid, instead of getting Superman, I'd usually get those WWF ice cream bars. So
did you know that apparently Superman ice cream is a Michigan thing?
Is it really?
I did not know that. I just found that out like earlier this week. I work for one of my two jobs. I work for a frozen food distributor, and they were talking about how Superman ice cream is a Michigan thing.
Huh.
It's pretty much unknown outside of us.
All right. Well, if you're not from Michigan and you've never heard of Superman ice cream, let us know.
Look it up. It's literally blue, red, and yellow.
Huh.
And I think it's Blue Moon, it's cherry, and I can't remember. I like it. So do you not like it, or?
I think I liked wrestling better than Superman.
Okay. I think I kind of didn't like the way they kept playing up that Clark is like a dork and weak. I think that was just too much. Like, I get that he doesn't want to blow his cover.
I kept trying to think to myself whenever they would do like the super cheesy stuff that this is like really the first superhero movie, big budget superhero movie, right?
Yeah.
And it was 1978. Mm-hmm. Things are different back then.
Yeah.
So they had some wiggle room. He definitely acted very dorky, and I kept feeling like I almost felt like the way that George McFly was played was almost a reference to how Christopher Reeves was playing Clark Kent. They seemed very similar to me. Like, had they been related somehow, it wouldn't have surprised me.
I thought they had him do weird things. Like, when him and Lois are walking, and the guy from down the alley is like, pulls the gun on him, and she's like, we need to get out of here, Clark. And he's like, well, Lois, I think we should do what he says. Why? Why even? I mean, I understand it's not a threat to him, but, like, why even go down the alley? And then at one point, the guy says, give me your purse, lady. I think you ought to do what he says, Lois. Again, why? Why did you put yourself in that? Like, they could have just easily just kept moving. They were still kind of in public where there were a lot more people around. They did, instead of going down this alley where no one could see them.
I think, well, he knew that as long as he was there, everything was going to be fine.
I know, but I'm just saying,
and
still,
that,
why put yourself in that situation?
He had to make himself seem like such a big chicken. Like, if somebody pulls out a gun, he's going to immediately do everything he says because he's scared.
Right, I'm just saying, he could have just said, like, come on, Lois, let's just get out of here. Like, instead of, okay, yeah, let's follow this guy down this alley and be kind of away from the general public.
I think it's just the part of the disguise as Clark Kent, just to be like this nerdy, cowardly guy. And he even thought, like, he's like, you don't have to do this. Telling the guy, like, hey, you don't want to hurt us. And the guy's like, oh, you're right, buddy, I'm going to change my life around. And even though he was obviously being sarcastic, Clark's like, oh, see, that's all it takes. It's just a little talk.
Yeah, I just thought that was kind of a silly thing to have him do, personally.
What I wonder is, why does he even bother being Clark Kent?
Why does he have, like, his own personal life?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Like, why does he pretend to be Clark Kent? Like, why would you want to act like a nerd for half the time, then try and disguise it and hide who you are?
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm sure people have heard this before, that, like, most superheroes, they wear a disguise, so you don't know who they are in real life.
Yeah.
But for Superman, it's reversed. Clark Kent is his disguise to hide that he's... Like, why does he have to hide that he's Superman, though?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Okay. You familiar with The Incredibles?
I know of it.
What?
I haven't watched it.
Really?
It's like a family of four? Like a mom, a dad, a brother, and a sister?
I thought the car chase scene where the cops are chasing the burglars, the ones that eventually escape to the boat, there was a scene in The Incredibles that reminded me a lot of it. I almost wonder if The Incredibles took inspiration from that, but you don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
No, you should really watch that.
Let's talk about Lois for a second. Did you like the casting of Lois?
Not really.
Nothing against the actress personally. I just didn't feel like she wasn't doing it for me.
Yeah.
Something I thought was kind of funny, and I'm not sure. Like, they made some odd choices in this movie, almost like they wanted it to be a comedy for a lot of time. They probably thought a lot of kids would see this too, and they wanted to make it funny. For the kids, but like Lois couldn't spell, and she's a writer.
I think the woman who played I can't remember her name. The woman that was like Lex's henchwoman. I think she would have been a better Lois personally. That actress in the role of Lois.
Possibly. When you said Carrie Fisher earlier, I was like, yeah, that could have worked.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that didn't happen, I guess.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting because I don't know a whole lot about Superman. Like, I've never been a huge DC fan. I'm not sure if this is something that happened in the comics or not. Like, I always picture Lex Luthor as this rich guy that owns his own like corporation, basically like an evil Batman or an evil
Tony
Iron
Stark.
Man.
Yeah.
But in this, we get introduced to Lex Luthor by his henchmen going down into his subway lair.
Yeah.
And he has all this technology and stuff, but like, how did he get it down there? And why is he hiding in the subway? He explains it off as it's cheaper to live down there than it is up top.
But like, what's
But I
money
thought he was
to him?
supposed to be rich.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Why does Superman tell her that he can't see through lead? Why would he tell people his weaknesses?
Yeah,
stupid.
okay. Well, so when he decides to go ahead and have that interview with Lois Lane, he starts telling her all about him. One of the things he says is like he can't see through lead. That's a weakness. And she's like, oh, interesting. She writes it down. Why would he let that out? And why would she report it to the world?
Yeah.
That seems horribly...
Well, I understand, I guess her boss at the time... Well, the boss, Perry White, was all... I want to know where he lives. Does he have a girlfriend? What's his favorite team? So I get it. He just... Anything. But, like... Yeah, that was stupid of Superman to reveal that.
Yeah, it was only in that part so that way Lex Luthor could use it against him later.
Yeah.
But I'm not even sure they really had to explain it. Like, maybe it could have just been coincidental. Oh, I can't see through lead. I didn't know that. Or, it was a coincidence that his safe was made out of lead or something.
Yeah.
But it ends up being part of the plan, the evil plan later. Another thing that I thought was kind of funny about that interview was he knew where he was from.
Yeah.
And he explained it to her. I'm from another planet, Krypton. Oh, okay. He just confirmed that there's alien life out there.
Yeah.
And that, like, if he's out there, what else is out there? And nobody seemed to react to that at all. Nobody cared that he was an alien.
I didn't think of that.
I just kept thinking about that. It's like, well, when the first night that he was Superman and flying around and saving everybody, I thought those reactions actually were really good. Like, everybody was just, like, standing in the street screaming or staring in awe at what's going on, trying to figure out what's happening here.
Yeah.
The cop is like, I saw a guy fly. And the other cop is like, you're drunk. And then Superman shows up.
Okay, that's funny you said that, because I actually wrote here, I thought some of people's first reactions were, to him, it was a little silly.
Oh, you thought so?
Yeah, like, it just seemed like a product of its time trying to have humor. Like, some of it I just thought was really goofy, the way they had the people.
It was goofy the way people were reacting, or was goofy him dropping those cheesy lines?
Yeah, there's a lot of goofiness going on here, but...
The cheesy lines, I actually kind of like those.
Yeah.
Him trying to do that, because I like him being like the squeaky clean, good two shoes guy.
He even bothered to say, excuse me, and then, and go off and do his thing.
Right. Yeah, no, I like him being like super polite and super nice and all that stuff. Even as cheesy as it is, people might not like, a guy that's like pure white instead of a more gray in the middle type of character. At least he had character, which is a lot more than I can say about the new Superman series.
I do have some thoughts on that. I will say when I get down there. Okay. Will Lois be able to breathe that high up when they go for their little fly? Like, he took her up pretty high. And I know that, like, most people have to be in a pressurized plane, or, jet fighter pilots have the oxygen mask. Like, again, very nitpicky. Maybe stupid of me to even bring up, but...
It's a thought, but, it's nothing compared to the fourth movie when he literally flies what's-her-face into outer space.
The flying scene, also, the voiceover, can you read my mind? Like,
I wrote that down. That was like her little poem that she's going through with her head. I was like,
yeah, this is really silly.
Yeah, that was super weird. And that lasted forever, too. Like, that was, again, like, the...
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to back it up just a little bit. When Perry White was asking, like, I need you guys to find out everything you can, he had a great line, and it really cracked me up, and I wrote it down. He said that it is the single most important interview since God talked to Moses.
Yeah.
And I thought that was actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
I just started laughing when I heard that. And then also when she interviews him, she starts questioning him. And I don't know how much time has passed since he first showed up to rescue people, but a lot of her questions were about powers that she knew that he had not displayed yet, or she wouldn't have known about.
Yeah.
Flying and super strength would be the only thing that they could ask about, really.
Yeah.
But she was asking him a lot of things. She's like, "Oh, is it true you can see through anything? Like, how did that come up?"
Yeah.
And then she asked him to look at her underwear.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of weird stuff. It was kind of weird because she didn't ask how he could do all of that stuff. She just asked him, like, "Oh, what is the extent of your power in this department?" And he would tell her. But she didn't ask how. How is it possible?
Yeah, I don't know. It's strange.
And I also kind of made a note of the same thing I said about Superman. Like, as dumb as Lois is in this movie, at least she has character, because that's another thing that's been driving me nuts in the new movies. I'm starting to wonder if Amy Adams is a good actress or not. Wait, let me back it up one more time.
Okay, very
well. All right, so also, one thing I thought about during that flying scene that you're talking about, like, I wonder if she can breathe.
Yeah.
One of the things I noticed that I thought was kind of funny is a pigeon bumps into them. There's a part where, like, they're flying, and then all of a sudden a pigeon bumps into them, and they kind of laugh about it, and then they go down through the clouds, and I'm like, wait a second, do pigeons fly that high up above the clouds? They might.
I don't remember that scene.
You don't remember that?
Huh. No.
So we both came up with a couple of different things that were weird about that flying scene, I guess.
Huh. We'll have to look that up.
Okay.
Okay. So how does Lex know that kryptonite will hurt Superman?
I was wondering that myself.
In fact, I never understood why a piece of his own planet will hurt him, but yet he is alien to our world, literally an alien, and nothing on Earth hurts him except a piece of his own planet. Yeah. I never understood that.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I think Lex tried to explain it off as the radiation. There's radiation that.
See, I don't remember him saying that. If he did, then he did, but I didn't catch that.
He said something about radiation, but like, it doesn't make sense.
But yeah, it seems like you had to test that theory as opposed to just proclaim it.
And he seemed to pull that information out of nowhere.
Yes.
He read one little article in a newspaper, and then he knew how to kill Superman.
Well, he's a criminal mastermind. Furthermore, how does Lex know that the meteor that was found in the other country is in fact kryptonite? So basically, he goes on this huge, adventure to find it, this big thing, and it just could be a random meteor. Right? It doesn't necessarily, just because it landed on Earth doesn't mean it's kryptonite.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's funny that he got a flatbed truck with a house on it so fast, and remember at the first time his little henchman messed up the numbers, so they had to go like plan B. So then he gets a huge truck, a flatbed truck with a house that they were moving, and somehow gets ahead of that missile. The guys driving the missile somehow, gets it that fast, gets ahead of them to stop them, so that now the girl can go aboard and fix the numbers. Like, how did he do that? I thought that was really cartoony. It reminded me of like Roadrunner. Like in Coyote, where
there were parts of this movie that seemed really cartoony. You're
like
right.
Somehow they just pull things out of the sky, to be able to do stuff. And like, how did he'd have to go into town, rent this truck, or buy the truck. I mean, I understand he's rich enough, he has the money to do it, but how did he get into town fast enough? Give me a flatbed truck, put a house on it, and then get it on the other side of the road to catch up with them so that they would stop them. I don't get it.
If I were him, I would have been happy just to have a house. I wouldn't want to be living in the subway anymore.
Yeah. How does Lex Luthor know that Superman can hear his message that only dogs can hear? How does he even know that?
This original series 1 through 4, there's a lot of holes and issues, and this is probably the best one of the 4. I haven't actually seen 2 all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that the director's cut, like you're saying, was actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of 2, like I thought that was kind of neat the way they set up the second one.
Yes, because
from the beginning.
Yeah, that was cool.
And they didn't. That was it. They did that thing in the beginning to set up the next one, and then they forgot about it. Unlike today's movies, that are focused so much on setting up everything that you don't even know what's going on anymore.
And just the last thing I want to say about this is that all Lex's big evil plan is real estate.
Yes.
I was like, wait, he doesn't want world domination. He doesn't want any of that. No, I just want to have a successful real estate business.
All he wanted was Otisburg.
Yeah, I was just like, what?
Oh, that cracked me up. When I forget the name of the actor, but his henchman, he wrote down Otisburg on Gene Hackman's map, and it's funny. He's in the middle of explaining his evil plan to Superman, and he sees that there's an Otisburg on there, and he has to stop his evil plan.
Yeah.
Otisburg? Oh
And
yeah,
they
boss. Otisburg? That actually cracked me up. I thought that was pretty funny, and I don't know why, but his outfit in that scene really caught my eye too. He was like wearing that like dark gray suit, like with
some
the
yellow collar or something.
Yeah, he had like a yellow shirt underneath with a yellow flower sticking out of his pocket, and I was like, that's pretty snazzy. I like that.
Yeah.
I liked that a lot.
I thought it was awfully convenient that the U.S. Army was already planning on shooting off some missiles for Lex to hijack.
What I didn't understand is why exactly Lex Luthor wanted to kill Superman or stop him. Like, it seems like he could have went ahead with his plan and nothing would have stopped him. But because he got Superman involved, that enabled Superman to stop him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that just baffled me.
Okay, so how does Superman flying around the Earth make it spin the other direction? And why would the Earth spin in the other direction make it go back in time?
Because science fiction.
Okay.
I think that may have actually come up in the comic books before. We'll have to look it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess we're towards the end of the movie now. I liked how in this movie, like, you know, I keep wanting to compare it to the newer ones. One of the things I was thinking about while I was watching it is as he's flying around saving people, he's actually saving people from destruction.
Yeah.
And trying to prevent destruction himself. And in the new ones, he's a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
I don't know how many. He's killed more people than Batman, and he was mad at Batman for killing people.
Yeah.
But I thought Christopher Reeves was a good choice. He had a good look.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I didn't remember him being that buff in the first one. Like, you can see his muscles through the suit and stuff, and it looks like it's actually him.
Yeah, for sure.
I know when they were talking about doing a Superman with Nicolas Cage. Have you ever seen those pictures?
Yes. It's clearly a suit.
Yeah, it's muscles built into the suit and stuff like that. But you know, it wasn't like that here. This is 1978.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the special effects weren't the greatest, but a lot of them were pretty decent. I think probably for the time. Some of them even still impressed me, like when he was racing back home at the beginning of the movie. Yeah. It kind of caught my eye. You could see like the dust trail behind the truck with the other teenagers from his high school.
Yeah.
And you could see them driving off in one direction, and then you could see another dust trail and a little dot moving as he was running back home to get in front of them.
Yeah, I think they said they used a motorcycle dragging like a...
That's what I was guessing that it was, but I wasn't sure. And I was like, wow, that's pretty smart of them to do it that way. It looks good. Some of the special effects weren't that great. I thought, for the most part, the flying looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Christopher Reeves apparently was a hang glider, and they said that helped with his movements for flying because he did that.
I know they had to probably have lifted him up with wires. I don't think they did. They definitely do that kind of stuff different now.
Yeah.
But I think back then it was like all wire work.
Yeah, I would think so. You know, again, I wasn't a big fan of Superman growing up. I watched that Lois and Clark show a little bit when I was younger, but anyway. But all in all, I was never a big fan of Superman. And
I used to stay up all the time, and when Nick at Night was good, and they would show the old black and white Superman show. Okay. I used to love that. I always wanted him to fight like another like super villain, somebody else with powers, but he was always after like just gangsters and fedoras and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I remember watching that and thinking that was fun. I've probably seen cartoons, like older cartoons, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I never got into the Superman cartoon that was out with Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, yeah. No, I liked the Justice League cartoon a little more.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I didn't get into Superman.
The animation always kind of turned me off. Like, I loved when the Batman the Animated Series came out. I thought that looked great. The stories were all good. I was super into it. And then when Superman came out, they started drawing them different to where they had like really tiny waists and skinny legs. And then it's like an upside down pyramid would be their chest.
Yeah.
And
I could see that.
I didn't like it. It was less realistic to me.
Yeah.
So I never gave that a chance, really. I watched Lois and Clark a lot.
Yeah.
I remember liking that show a lot. What was the name of the actress?
The actress?
Yeah.
Was Terry Hatcher?
Terry Hatcher, yes. Yeah, I had a crush on her.
Dean Cain with Superman.
Dean Cain was an okay Superman.
Yeah, for that show, he's fine.
I think probably Christopher Reeves is like the Superman between everybody that's played him so far.
Yeah. Yeah, my final thoughts basically on the movie is that it was a fun adventure film. If I was a kid at the time when this came out, I think I probably would have liked it a lot. I think it has, even though it has like a lot of things I clearly already nitpicked about, it was still fun. I still enjoyed watching it. It had great music, and I could tell that the special effects were great for their time. Yeah, they're a little dated now, but doesn't mean necessarily bad. And he's not my favorite character, but I do think that Christopher Reeve is probably the best person that I've seen play Superman.
Yes, I tend to agree. The movie felt very hokey and cartoonish at times.
Yeah, which is not always bad.
The pacing was a little off.
Yeah.
Like, it was a long movie that rushed certain things and then dragged other things out.
Yeah.
I enjoy the cheesiness of it. I don't mind it being like a PG movie. That's fine. I actually kind of wish that it was kind of like that nowadays, because everybody's trying to do the darker side of everything. And
well, granted, PG-13 didn't exist at that time either.
that's true.
It would have had to jump straight to R.
Right, so that was probably a G-rated movie when it came out.
Let's see, there's G, then PG, and then it went right to R. So, I mean, it might have been a PG. I don't know.
They were pretty lenient
Maybe.
back then.
What's that?
It took a lot to get a certain rating back then. I have a funny Swamp Thing story. I can tell that later. But yeah, I liked it. It wasn't the best movie ever, but it really was the first big superhero movie. And without it, who knows what superhero movies would be like nowadays? I mean, they might be exactly the same, but it definitely set
Sure.
the standard.
I'm looking forward now to seeing Superman 2. I hear, kind of like Aliens is what I've always heard. Like, basically, Superman 1 and 2 are the good ones. 3 and 4 not so much. Just like Alien 1 and 2 are the good.
I think the one I've seen the most. I think I've seen 3 and 4 the most. I don't remember seeing 2. The first one, I think I saw parts of it.
Well, that's, I know, where he fights the 3 criminals.
Yeah.
I know that much.
And as a kid, I would have liked that one a lot better because I like for him to fight other powered people, other monsters, and whatever. Sure. I will have to sit down and watch that. I'd prefer to watch probably the director's cut.
I'm actually thinking if I'm going to do it, I'll do both. I'll do it as it came out, and then how he. I guess they said he spent a year pretty much doing his cut. Richard Donner.
Oh wow! I heard that the cut was really good. It was better than what we got released. Yeah. What would you rank it? Do you want to give it a grade?
Sure. Again, it's cheesy, it's outdated, but it was fun. Yeah, I could see what you're saying about pacing issues. Maybe C+.
Yeah, I was thinking probably like about a B.
Yeah, I was debating about a B-, but I think I'll give it a C+.
I'll give it like a B. Something that kids can watch and have fun with.
Sure. Yeah.
Nowadays movies, no, not as much.
Yeah.
They're not even fun for adults anymore.
Yeah, some of them aren't doing so hot. You saw Man of Steel?
Yes, I did see that one.
Yeah, I didn't really care for it.
I had a lot of issues with it. I heard that it was good, and I was interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing the trailers and looking at it and thinking that it looks like an interesting take. He looked like, from the trailers to me, like, before he became Superman, he was going to be kind of like a vagabond or something, just somebody traveling around, getting...
Which he did a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And the nonlinear storytelling kind of got to me a little bit. Like, I couldn't tell when...
Because it was going back in the past,
the blandness of both actors, the guy doing Superman and I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I think as far as he looks a lot like Christopher Reeves.
Yeah.
I think he probably could be a great Superman. It's just they don't give him anything to do. He always has a sour look on his face, blank look on his face.
Yeah.
I
know he was the first English
Adams.
person to play Superman. I know that much.
What's that?
I believe they said he was the first English person to play Superman.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Cavill is his last name.
Okay.
Henry Cavill? Is that it? Well, we'll have to look it up later. And Amy Adams is the same way. She's so boring in these movies. She always has, like, the straight face. And, like, the stuff they're doing with Lois Lane, I don't even understand why they like each other.
Yeah.
Maybe just because they're both the most miserable people on Earth.
Yeah.
They found each other. Henry Cavill?
Yes,
okay,
you're correct.
Good. There were things, too, like, at the end of the movie, she's flying the military plane, and like, helping them come up with, like, plans to stop Zod and stuff. And I'm like, she's just a reporter.
Yeah.
She has nothing to do with the military. Why is she even
once.
there?
I did see it in theaters. I can't even remember that much about it.
I watched it with 2 people. They both liked it. And just, like, there's too much about it that I couldn't stand.
Yeah.
They tried to do too much cool stuff, and like, when you do the first movie and the world is already being destroyed, where do you go from there?
I just remember a lot of product placement. Like, he crashes through, like, a Ruby Tuesdays and a Dunkin' Donuts and then, like, a Sunoco gas station, and I just remember there was a lot of product placement.
I had a question. Maybe you noticed this. Towards the end of the 78 Superman, and Lois is, like, at that gas station, does her car break down because it's out of gas?
I thought so, because they showed the gas light come on, and...
Because I know she had just left that gas station. Like, stuff started blowing up. The gas station blew up. But I think I had looked away or something, and I didn't see, like, was there anybody working at that gas station? Was it abandoned?
I don't recall.
Because I thought it was kind of funny that they didn't seem to care. Like, if it wasn't abandoned, they didn't seem to care that the attendant got blown up. Just a thought. I should probably go back and watch it to figure out what happened there.
It's like... It's funny to me. We both said basically we enjoyed the movie, we had fun with it, but yet I got really nitpicky. Like, I mean, I really got.
Well, they made it so cheesy and stuff, and it doesn't hold the movie back per se. It's just like all of these things. Like, as an adult, you're watching it like, what is this?
Yeah.
A kid wouldn't care.
No.
And I feel like they probably made the movie for, a lot of people are going to take their kids to go see it.
Yeah.
They made it entertaining enough for the adults and smart enough for the adults, but you still come away with a bunch of questions like that.
Yeah.
With the newer ones, like even Batman vs Superman, I remember like a lot of weird things. Like there was a scene where when Batman had that spear, and he was gonna kill Superman with it.
Yeah.
For no reason, and he ended up throwing the spear away into the water. And I remember Lois had just shown up out of nowhere. Like, they're supposed to be in, like, this abandoned part of the city.
Yeah.
I guess that was kind of a reaction to everybody saying, like, everything got destroyed in Man of Steel. We're like, okay, well, we'll destroy everything, but it will be abandoned. Everybody will have evacuated that area. Like, that's supposed to fix all the destruction going on. And it was a huge area, too, when they're fighting Doomsday. So Lois just kind of instinctively knows where they're at for no reason.
Yeah.
I don't see how she knew where they were at. And then... she's about to leave the abandoned building, and, like, she stops and looks back and then goes to find the spear. Why? Like, is she getting telepathic messages? I mean, they could be, because they don't want to explain that stuff anymore. They just want to have stuff happen.
It's just movie logic, yeah.
It's just so weird.
Gotta have a reason to get
from point
A to B.
I forget some of the movie. I blocked a lot of it out because it was so horrible.
Yeah, the big Doomsday fight was where I lost interest. And that's where I was like, wait a minute. I missed some stuff. I paid for this. I might as well watch it. And I rewound it back, but...
Yeah, they're trying to go too dark too fast. Cram too much in there. There was a scene in... one of the things that bothered me about Logan, like how I mentioned there was kind of a scene that I thought was goofy. It actually kind of reminded me of the scene from Superman vs. Batman where... they're going through the emails and seeing the other superheroes. It wasn't exactly like that. It just kind of reminded me of that. Yeah. And that was the part that kind of like took me out of the movie a little bit. But it wasn't as bad in Logan. So, are you looking forward to Justice League or anything like that?
I can't say I'm looking forward to it. I mean, if it comes out and it looks good, I might see it.
I guess maybe a bigger question for me would be, do you plan on seeing Wonder Woman at all? Do you have any interest?
The trailer looked okay to me. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Captain America, only it's World War I as opposed to 2.
Right.
It looked all right. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be good, but I'm definitely more interested in that. I think I'm more interested in that than seeing Justice League at this point.
Okay.
But I kind of actually forgot all about Wonder Woman until you just said it.
I have pretty much no interest in either one at the moment. Like, really don't think I'm going to watch Wonder Woman unless somebody drags me out to it.
out of those two, I think I'd rather see Wonder Woman. It looks like a little bit like Thor at first, where like like this island where they're like practically like immortal or whatever, and it kind of reminds me of Thor's kingdom a little bit, and then it goes into like Captain America with the.
Did you ever collect comics as a kid or anything like that?
Not really.
No.
I was more into the movies and cartoons and things.
All right, so cartoons. So you watched the '90s X-Men?
A little bit, yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yes.
And Batman.
Yes.
Okay. What was your favorite? Did you have a favorite hero or anything like that?
Batman. Batman was pretty much always my favorite. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I just liked him best.
Well, we'll have to get the Michael Keaton Batmans going soon.
Absolutely. It was between this one, Batman '89, and Iron Man was where I thought might be.
Did you ever see the Adam West movie?
No, I've seen parts of it. I know about it, like sucking moisture or something, and like people become powder or something. And
oh yeah,
is that also the one with the shark?
Yep,
the infamous shark scene.
And he has the shark repellent in his bat belt.
Yep. Yeah, no, I didn't see it.
There's a scene where he has a bomb, like a giant bowling ball looking bomb.
Yes.
He doesn't know where to put it. Every time he goes to throw it somewhere where it won't hurt anybody, like a nun will walk out or a woman walking her baby will be out there.
Yeah, and then I remember at one point he's going to throw it in the water, but there's ducks.
Yeah.
But like,
you just can't get rid of a bomb these days.
Surely he would throw it much further.
Uh-huh. Well, we should probably watch that one too.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably the end of our super podcast. I know some people were looking forward to the Burbs, and
I was looking forward to doing it.
Yeah. Burbs will be coming up soon.
Yeah.
We've got it mostly ready. We just got everybody needs to be healthy.
Yes.
Looking forward to do more superhero movies soon.
Yep.
If you want to reach us, you can email us at theescapepodcast16@gmail.com. You can contact us on Facebook by searching for Escape Podcast 16.
Yes, that is correct. And they can also find us on Podomatic by searching Escape Podcast 16 and searching iTunes Store, or the iTunes Podcast Directory, I should say, for the Escape Podcast. No 16 on that one.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. If you want to leave us any comments, request a movie, have any questions, we'll take it all. Just go ahead
even if
and
you disagree
contact
with us or something we said.
Yeah, disagree with us, fight with us, let us know.
Yeah. Well, thank you once again, Brandon, for coming in. I appreciate it.
No problem.
And I don't want to say next week, here comes this, because I kind of shot myself in the foot last time on that one.
Next week, we definitely won't be doing Superman from 1978.
I'm thinking we do like Air Buddies, the ones where the little puppies go into space.
Oh, I thought you meant the dog playing basketball.
We should do the Air Buds series. There's a lot of them.
Okay.
All right. Have a good night.